I'm Andrew Ross Sorkin of the New York Times for DealBook, here with Rob Cox of Reuters Breakingviews, and we're here talking about Goldman Sachs, and you had a very provocative column out suggesting that Lloyd Blankfein, the chairman and CEO of Goldman Sachs, maybe shouldn't be the chairman anymore.
Well, I don't want to call this a demotion. What I'm trying to say is now is the perfect time for Goldman Sachs to think about what all the other banks on Wall Street, with one exception, have done, which is to separate the chairman and CEO roles. And there's a lot of really good reasons. It's not just a sort of corporate governance box-ticking exercise. The reason, if you look back at the last year, it's been an awful year for Goldman Sachs. Not necessarily financially, but in the public
sector. But you think this is also to send a signal to the rest of Wall Street to suggest that not only should Goldman do that, but if Goldman does it first, then everybody will follow suit.
Well, don't forget, Goldman Sachs, by the way, is usually ahead of everybody on Wall Street, right? But in this respect, they're not. Everybody except J.P. Morgan and Goldman Sachs has split the roles, right? The problem is they mostly split the roles in a moment of crisis, right? So we didn't know who was going to become the chairman and CEO after Chuck Prince left. Well, let's kind of split the baby.
But make the case for me. Okay. Lloyd Blankfein ostensibly has done a pretty good job.
Great operator. Best operator probably on Wall Street. But you know what he did in the last year? He worried about public relations all year. He worried about politicians. He had to go down to Washington all the time and get pilloried by various congressmen.
And you want him chained to the desk. You want him with clients. You don't want him...
Wouldn't you want him to be worried about clients, worried about customers, worried about flows, trading, his talented people? That's what I think he should be focused on.
Your chairman then is a PR person?
Well, I wouldn't say PR. It is someone with gravitas, a little gray hair, and someone who can work with the regulators, congressmen, politicians.
I'm going to make this difficult. Give me some names. Who do you want to be the chairman, if not Lloyd Blankfein?
Right now, you know, they're going through this sort of Wall Street version of psychoanalysis at Goldman Sachs with this commission's standards, business practices thing.
And we should hear about that in the next week.
It sounds like they're meeting and talking about it this week, but we probably won't know the final details until January. But guess who's running that panel? It's Jerry Corrigan. Jerry Corrigan is a perfect example of the kind of guy who could be the chairman of Goldman Sachs. He, don't forget, was the president of the New York Federal Reserve. He's well known. He can provide cover to Lloyd when Lloyd needs it and let Lloyd work on...
Okay. Final question.
Okay.
What do you think the chances are they actually do this?
Well, it's not part of this commission. This commission is not looking at governance. This is a board decision, don't get me wrong. And when they did actually someone had put this idea of a split to shareholders last year, and it was obviously roundly rejected. Although I would argue that if Goldman Sachs management put it forward, it would actually pass with its shareholders. Look, I'm not sure it's going to happen.
So the chances are slim.
I think it'll happen when Lloyd decides that he's ready to move on, and he'll become the chairman, just like John Mack did at Morgan Stanley, and that will create a permanent version of this.
Fair enough. Thank you for the conversation. Rob Cox of Reuters Breakingviews. I'm Andrew Ross Sorkin of the New York Times for DealBook.